Kings fans, you have been very, very good to me. I say it every time, but this is the fan base that I think is the kindest out of all the ones that I interact with in the NHL community, and yeah, I'm totally sucking up to you guys, face it. But today we're making a video on what is going to be defined as the trading plan, I guess, because we had ourselves a little bit of an insight as to what exactly it is that Rob Blake, LA Kings general manager, would be willing to do when it comes to trades. And it's a very interesting idea that I think has been explored very thoroughly by some of these other NHL teams, but could prove as a very significant factor for an LA Kings team that's playing in a pretty top-heavy Central, what do you even call this, a Western Division? Yeah, let's call it the Western Division, yeah, because they've got some pretty good teams like the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights, but then they have a few other teams that aren't really all too great, like the Sharks, like the Ducks, like the Arizona Coyotes, etc. These teams are all going to share the point distribution because they're just going to be beating each other over and over and over again. But for the LA Kings, as a team that was actually a little bit better towards the end of the season, that pushed them further down the draft rankings and eventually won the second overall pick in the lottery, because that's what it is, it's a lottery. This is a team that could honestly quite benefit from what exactly it is that Rob Blake is proposing. Let's go over on Twitter and take a look at some quotes from Rob Blake himself. LA Kings GM Rob Blake says he would explore a deal comparable to the Ottawa-Tampa Bay trade, utilizing cap space to acquire assets, and has had conversations with teams with cap issues. And this is a very great idea. Let's go over to that Ottawa Senators trade. It actually broke down immediately while we were doing a live stream or something, which is why the video we recorded of that trade was a video in the middle of the live stream where we tried to analyze all the things that were going on while Philip Tomasino was scoring the goals to put Team Canada up, what was it, like 2-0 against Slovakia? Something like that. But that trade essentially was just on paper an absolute steal of a trade for the Ottawa Senators. Yes, this is a great trade for both teams, but when you take away all the context, you take away what the team's economical situations were like, on paper, that Tampa Bay-Ottawa trade, which was Cedric Paquette, Braydon Coburn, and a second for two players who aren't even going to play, in Anders Nilsson and Marian Gaborik, it's a huge win for Ottawa. But this trade was huge for the Lightning too, and a very good one for them despite the fact that their return is significantly lower value than what they gave up, because the Lightning were in a cap crunch. Even though they had themselves a few $1 million of cap space freed up from Nikita Kucherov, they still had a whole bunch of other guys they brought back on what was, collectively, a pretty expensive payroll. Mikhail Sergachev, Jan Ruda, Eric Chernak, and then Anthony Chiarelli too. These guys all combined for some pretty significant dollar amounts on their cap roll. So, to free up the money by getting rid of Coburn and getting rid of Cedric Paquette, as well as getting back Anders Nilsson and Marian Gaborik, who are both going to go on LTIR, they're freeing up more cap space. And a lot of people were quick to point out, even though the fact is that the value, it lines up very heavily for Ottawa, so many people I saw were going out there saying, why are the Senators doing this, man? Why are they giving the Lightning an escape? Why are they going out here bailing out teams left and right? They did the same thing with the Arizona Coyotes like the day before. They traded away a second-round pick for Derek Stepan. Derek Stepan is an expensive middle six center who will take away playing time from the Ottawa young guys, but who will also provide some significant cap relief due to his departure from the Arizona Coyotes. So this was a move for the Ottawa Senators where not only are they getting their asset back, they got a second-round pick for cap space essentially, they also improved their team. And even though the Ottawa Senators are in a spot where they're doing the Lightning a favor, and a lot of people would say, why would you do that? Why would you give the Lightning an out? Why would you allow this Lightning team to get away with it? At the end of the day, Pierre Dorion is being selfish. He's just like, okay, well, at the end of the day, you know, if we play Tampa, it's going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals, or it's going to be in the third round. We're not going to play Tampa Bay any time in the regular season, so we don't care about what happens with Tampa Bay. We'll get there when we get there. Let's just focus on building our team up against an all-Canadian division, and that's what we're going to do by acquiring guys like Paquette, Coburn, and keeping our assets. If the LA Kings wanted to go out there and do a similar thing, what they would be inclined to do is probably take on a whole bunch of other players that are making mid-tier salaries, maybe a few guys who are established NHL middle six nice middle pairing, defenders or forwards, acquire them alongside of a draft pick or two, and trade away, I don't know, either a prospect who is B tier or a lower value draft pick or whatever, just to make it go through. Or maybe even go the Detroit route and say, hey, future considerations right here, baby. So when it comes to the LA Kings, they do have the potential to go out there and make something happen that honestly is quite a needle mover. Maybe not on the individual player standpoint like Braydon Coburn or Cedric Paquette or any huge top tier names. I guess Marian Gaborik is, but he's not playing anymore. But collectively, they add so much to a hockey team that did not have them before. Now, the Ottawa Senators' argument of, whoa, you're taking away playing time from Batherson, Brown, Norris, it still does exist, but a team without Paquette and Coburn is kind of worse than with Paquette and Coburn, you know? The Ottawa Senators want to remain competitive and they want to be winners, so that's kind of why they did this. But for the LA Kings, I think it actually does make a lot of sense because this Kings team is a lot better than people would give them credit for. Sure, in the standings they were kind of whack, but towards the end with Gabe Vilardi, with Martin Furr coming onto this team, they ended up winning like 6 straight to end off the year. They started scoring more goals, they started showing more cohesion, and they ended up winning more games. Now they're in a position where they have Elias Anderson coming in. Okay, that's pretty good. They have Andreas Athanasiou coming in too. Hey, that's pretty alright as well. And then we have another tweet talking about what the plan is for the prospects here. He confirms, Rob Blake does, the plan is to maybe get Byfield, Turcotte, or Kaliyev a few NHL games. However, don't look for them to burn a year off their ELCs by giving them 7+ games. Now that is a little bit weird towards the end because the 7+ games thing, entry-level contracts, they go into a certain type of status once you play that amount of games, all that stuff. You know, the guy burns a year or two and eventually he's worth a little bit more, a little bit sooner, which is why you would not want to do that. But the bottom line is they're getting an opportunity. For Arthur Kaliyev, for Alex Turcotte, for Quinton Byfield, these guys are going to be given the chance. For the OHL guys like Kaliyev and Byfield, it's a little bit different because they actually have to go back to the OHL, I believe. I think both of them are old enough to actually go back and finish the year out there. But if they stay up and play, I believe it's 9 games, they won't have the option to go back to the OHL. And because of their ages, I'm not sure they would be able to go to the AHL either. Byfield, absolutely not. Kaliyev, I'm pretty sure. Turcotte's in a different boat. Because he's fresh out of college, he's not part of that CHL, NHL, AHL agreement. He can go to the AHL whenever the Kings want to. But the fact is, if they're going to get the playing time in the first place, if these guys are able to prove that they belong sooner rather than later, we might be able to see something extraordinary happen here. Because if you want to take a look at a Quinton Byfield, a Turcotte, a Kaliyev, etc., all those guys, Akil Thomas, Tyler Madden, I don't know, Rasmus Kupari or whatever, and you say, look, we're giving you a chance. We're giving you 7 games here. If you play more than 7, it means you're worth it. If any of these guys, which you have quite a lot of, show off a lot better than Rob Blake expects them to, that's all of a sudden a brand new asset added onto your team, alongside of all the other new forwards you added, plus maybe even some other guys you get with your extra cap space in a trade similar to the Senators and or the Lightning. I think Kings fans should be very excited for what's going on for 2020-2021 because not only are you guys playing against teams like San Jose and Anaheim and Arizona that aren't really all too great, but the potential for your club to significantly improve definitely does exist. So, talk to me in the comments what you think about this whole LA Kings idea over here. Do you agree with this sentiment that the type of trades to bail out a team like what Pierre Dorion did for Brisebois with the Tampa Bay Lightning are necessary for the LA Kings? Furthermore, what do you think about Byfield and all the other prospects? Some of these guys are doing really well at the World Juniors right now, so we're getting a little bit of an extended look at them right now. But would you be so inclined to see a Quinton Byfield suit up for only 7 games before being sent back if he's not ready? Same with Turcotte, same with Madden, same with Kaliyev, etc. Tell me in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.